Hi, this is Adam from Small Town Machine Shop. Today we're working on this Honda 2-inch trash pump. The complaint is the motor just stopped running. What it is most likely, they said they were sucking stuff up without a strainer on the end of the intake tube. Now when you pull the cord, it doesn't budge at all. So the easiest thing to look is we're going to go in here. So, first thing we'll do is take these 3 bolts off. On this particular one, they are 12 millimeter. And right behind here is it's not really a check valve, it's a flap. We'll be able to see the middle of the impeller. And that will tell us right away, usually, there's something jammed in there. Should be a rubber flap. It usually stays with that. And sure enough, there is a bunch of bark in it. So, we need to take this part off. There's 4 12 millimeter bolts. And I've pre-loosened, there's these studs that hold it to the anti-vibration pads. Those also took a 12 millimeter wrench. Take those off. Because you have to take those off and lift it to get to the bolts that hold this on because there's an interference. So now we can lift this guy up. Put something underneath it. There we go. Well, it's not quite high enough. That'll work for that. Again, that's another handy use for the Harbor Freight cart. I'll lean in front of you there for a second. It's all broke loose. That guy was in there. Really in there. Use the wrench. There we go. Lift it up. Take our extension off. I get these in quite a bit. Usually always with the same problem. I'll show you another thing that's a common problem with these once we got this casing open. Okay, one last one up top. Pull this guy straight off. There's a big rubber O-ring in there. Here's what the inside of this looks like. Some rusty water in there. A few little rocks. It's running all over my table. So now, we gotta get this guy off. You can see there's all kinds of, get this out of the way. There's all kinds of bark, little rocks. Now you can sit here, you can fish all these out. So it starts turning again. But obviously that was the issue. I'm going to go ahead and take these 3 bolts off. Let me go get a tool for that real quick. Okay, as I recall, these are 12. They're, excuse me again. Here we go. I believe these are 10 millimeter. Yep. These are acorn nuts. There's a stud that goes in the back plate. Sometimes when you take these nuts off, it'll bring the stud with it. Not usually though. And then I'm pretty sure I've worked on this pump before. So you've been in there before. I always put anti-seize on these, but not on the stud. This guy will wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yep, there we go. There's the impeller. There we go. Shows the switch to off. Still a little stiff. Make sure there's no damage to anything. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Now on a lot of models, this is you can take this off and this will come off. If your pump ever starts to lose suction, they make a shim kit for these that goes behind here. It comes with 4 shims. They're really small. They're like, I want to say there's 3, 4, 5, 6 thousandths. And I always start with the smallest. And I'll push that further out against here. Get this guy all cleaned up. Check for damage, of course. These trash pumps, as they get rocks and stuff in them, or you always try to use a strainer box, the ends will break off and that'll affect its performance. I'm gonna go ahead and get this wire brushed out, and I'll bring you back for the reassembly. Okay, got everything cleaned up. Motor's turning freely. What I'm gonna do is put this guy back on. Usually you can tell where it is because there'll be like a weird wear pattern where the outlet is. Push that guy flat. A little bit of anti-seize on there. Just a little bit, but you know how anti-seize is. You can get this stuff on you ordering it offline. So we only need the barest minimum. I'll cover out of the way. Put the acorn nuts back on. And this is a very common setup for a lot of these trash pumps. They're exactly the same, just different size. Clean this up. Seal there is getting kind of bad. It's still sealing, so it's nothing to get to it. So I'll bring that to their attention. I think they're gonna have me go through it here. They need it for this was a quick job leak. showed up, so they just need it back running for a couple days to get their leak fixed, and then we'll go from there. Because sometimes I know it doesn't, you know. Again, just use a 1/4" ratchet when tightening this stuff, because this is cast. So you don't want to strip nothing. But when I overhaul these, I don't know how long it lasts or what good it does. I'll primer paint these and paint them. Probably overkill for the application. Okay, so now put our body back on. So we tilt this back. Down, fish it past those rubber vibration mounts. Come on. There we go. Down. The bolts here had a little shoulder on them. Again, just a little bit of anti-seize. It's a new can, so it's hard to put a little bit of anti-seize on there. Run them in. This is pretty much real time to show you how quick it is to do one of these. It really is a simple job. And I like these ones with the Honda motors. They're really, really good units. Harbor Freight sells one that's if I had to guess, about a 1/10 of the price these Hondas are, and it shows. It's a awful pump. Often they have plastic impellers in them, and that is no good. I mean, for a homeowner draining your swimming pool, it might be useful. But for stuff like pumps, especially this is from one of the local water utilities, I always recommend, you know, you get the argument, but I could get like 4 pumps for the price of the one. Well, you know, when people are depending on their water or whatever, you know, there comes a time when dollar cost is factored in. Plus, some of those Harbor Freight ones, you can't even get parts for them, so they're not serviceable. I hear a lot of claims that the parts are interchangeable, they're exactly like it, but not on the pumps. And as you can probably tell from some of the work I do, do a lot of work for water districts and farmers, a lot of water type stuff. Again, these only need to be that tight. These will kind of bottom out, so you don't want to reef on that seal. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this kind of content. There's not a lot of people I see work on this kind of stuff. These back down. I'm not going to bother putting Loctite on those, because those will always be free. Now on this flapper, if it ever comes loose, almost all of them, let me see if you can see that, have a register that'll go in right there. So, that guy in there, you don't need any kind of silicone on these. Even on the big O-ring that's behind here. If it's leaking in the field, which I don't think I've ever come across one that was leaking that wasn't deadheaded and blew the seal out of it. But you can put some silicone in them then. But I've never had one leaking like that. So then, put this guy on. Same as the other, hold them up. One guy. Two guys. And three. There we have it. That pump is ready to go. One snug. Again, whenever I'm dealing with a small aluminum housing or magnesium, 1/4 inch stuff just in the palm of your hand like that is all you need. There. It's all back together and good to go. So this was how to clear a jammed impeller on a trash pump. This is Adam from the Small Town Machine Shop. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.